Good morning, children. Welcome to science class. In today's class, we are going to learn the chapter 5 separation of substances. Okay, in everyday life, we need to separate so many substances. In the morning, we have to separate the tea leaves from the tea to drink that. Okay, and we have to separate the butter from milk or curd, and we need to separate the chilies and the curry leaves from the dishes that our mom prepared for us, right? So likewise we need to separate so many substances. So before we use a substance, we need to separate the harmful substances or unusual non-useful substances that may be mixed with it, right? Sometimes we separate even useful components if we need to use them separately. And the substances to be separated may be particles of different sizes or different materials. These may be in any three states of matter. It may be in solid state, it may be in liquid or gaseous state. Any state of matter can be separated by some methods. So let us see some methods of separation. Okay, these are some of the methods. We have to separate the tea leaves from tea. We separate the chilies from our dishes, and we separate the butter from milk or curd by this churning method. And let's see some methods of separation. First method is hand picking. Hand picking means this method is used for separating the big size, large size impurities, large size particles like pieces of stove, husk, and rice. Quantity of such impurities is usually not very large. In such situations, we find the hand picking as a method that is very convenient to separate the substances. Okay, if the substance is very large, we have to use this hand picking as a method of separation. And the next method is threshing. You must have seen bundles of wheat or paddy stalks lying in fields after harvesting the crops. The stalks are dried in the sun before the grain is separated from them, right? Each stalk has many grain seeds attached to it. The process that is used to separate the grain seeds from the stalks are called as threshing. The process which is used to separate the grain seeds from the stalks are called as threshing. In this process, the stalks are beaten in a place and the grain is fall down. By this process, the grains are separated from the stalks, and these threshing is done with the help of bullocks also, and machines are also used for the process of threshing. And the next process is winnowing. This is the one of the method of separating the substances. First, take the mixture to an open ground and stand on a raised platform like this, and put the mixture in a plate or sheet of paper and hold the plate at a shoulder height like this. At the shoulder height, hold the mixture in the plate like this, and move it slightly so that the mixture slides out slowly. The mixture fall down slowly. This method of separating the substance is called as winnowing. This winnowing method is used to separate the heavier and the lighter components. In hand picking, we used to separate the large components, right? But in winnowing, we need to separate the lighter particles from the heavier particles. This is done by the wind or blowing air, and this method is commonly used by the farmers to separate the lighter husk from the heavier seeds of grain, and these lighter husk particles are flow away and the grain fall down and it form a heap. These are the grains. This form a heap near the platform floor, and then the husk is separated by this process. This is called as the winnowing process. And the next method of separation is sieving. Sometimes we may wish to prepare a dish by flour, right? Before we prepare a dish, we have to separate the impurities from that, right? So this sieving allows us to separate the fine powdered particles, pass through the holes of the sieve, and the bigger particles remain on the sieve. In flour mills also, the impurities like husk or stone are removed from the wheat before grinding it, and this use being also used at the construction sites. In construction sites, these are used to separate the pebbles and stones from sand. Mostly the siever is used in the place of different sizes of component involved, where when we use the different sizes, the large size and the small size components, in that place we use the sieving method. Okay, and the next method is sedimentation and decantation. And sometimes the rices or pulses are usually washed before cooking, right? When you add water, the dust particles in the rice will float on the water, and the rice sink into the bottom of the vessel, right? When the heavier components in a mixture settles after water is added to it is called as sedimentation. The heavier particles settles down when water is added to it is called as sedimentation. And when the water is removed with the dust particles, that is called as decantation. The heavier components sink in the vessel is called as sedimentation, and the waste water is removed from the vessel is called as decantation process. The same principle is used for separating a mixture of two liquids that do not mix with each other. For example, oil and water do not mix with each other, right? And these two can be separated by this process. If a mixture of such liquids is allowed to stand for some time, they form two separate layers, and the component that forms top layer can be separated by decantation process. And let us again consider a mixture of a solid and liquid. First we consider the oil and two liquid. First we take two liquids, oil and water. Now consider solid and liquid. After preparing tea, what we do? We use a strainer to remove the tea leaves. And let us try decantation process in this. It helps a little, but do you still get a few leaves in your tea, right? Now pour the tea through a strainer. Did all the tea leaves remain in the strainer? No. This process is called filtration. This method of separating tea leaves from prepared tea is better. Which method is better, decantation or filtration? Filtration, right? And let us now consider the example of water that we use. Water supplied through taps may be muddy, right? The water collected from ponds or rivers may be also muddy water. And now take some muddy water from the pond or a river and mix some soil to water in a glass and let it stand for half an hour. Now slightly move the glass without disturbing the water. Let the water from the top flow into the another glass. What will you call this process? This is decondition process, right? And now filter it like this. Now filter it. Let us try the filtering the water through a piece of cloth first. In a piece of cloth, small holes or pores remain in between the woven threads, right? These pores in a cloth can be used as a filter. If the water is still muddy, impurities can be separated by a filter that has even smaller pores. A filter paper is one such filter that has very fine pores in it. This figure shows that the steps involved in the preparation of filter paper. As a filter paper folds in the form of a cone like this, and the mixture is then poured on the filter paper. And the solid particles in the mixture do not pass through the filter paper. It remains on the filter paper. The liquids only pass through it, so we can get the clear water. And the fruits and vegetable juices are also usually filtered before drinking it. And this method of filtration is also used in the process of preparing the paneer. In our homes we use paneer, right? These paneers are separated by this process of filtration. These are the some methods of separation you have learned today. I hope you all understand this. Thank you, students.